I got my socks fitted. You know how I roll. This is how we roll. Yeah. Homicidal clothes cause I'm dressed to kill. Leave 6 bitches oohing cause I'm worth a mill. Flow is ill, spitting no vomit spill. Killing them softly but I ain't Lauren.
What is up, my people? We are back. Welcome to another episode of the Townie Sports Podcast. I am one of your 2 tremendous hosts for this evening, Sammy, and I'm, as always, right beside me, my main man, Vic. Vic, how you doing this lovely evening, bro?
I'm doing wonderful, Sammy. Thank you for asking. How are you doing this wonderful evening?
Doing good, man. Honestly, it's been a while. We had the hurricane last week, so everything's good and safe over here. Obviously, thoughts and prayers, as always, to the people in Fort Myers and Naples and all that as they look to recover and all that good stuff. Thankfully, it missed us. How are you during all that?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just hanging out, doing my thing.
Yeah, and then obviously the week before we had some work issues, so weren't able to get to you guys the last 2 weeks. So we were like, we got to come back, and honestly, it's a perfect time to come back because it's quarter of the way through the season. And Vic, I figured I'd switch things up a little bit today, because one thing you and I used to talk about a lot was we're not the 4 letters, right? We're not ESPN. We're not trying to be, and I felt like I was drifting our show towards that. I mean, we were doing still the great in-depth analysis. We were doing a lot more statistical analysis and actually more valuable statistical analysis than I think some of the other people do.
Absolutely.
But I felt,
you were on the Celtics before anybody else.
You were on the Bengals before pretty much everyone too. So I mean,
I'm gonna live on that.
Yeah, I mean that's a good one. That's a tremendous one to live on. But I feel like quarter way through the season, let's switch things up. Let's kind of I'm going to break it down here. We're going to do like a quarter season review. We're going to go through some of these teams that we're looking at. I mean, we're not going to look at teams that, we are expecting or like that are kind of middling. We're really going to look at teams that are kind of really, really high. Are they legit? Are they not? Kind of look at some of the lower tier teams that are maybe you should be worried about them or maybe you shouldn't, right? Because I know it's quarter way of the season, but I think at this point you should have a good understanding of where your team is and where they can be or where they should be. So
right,
kind of wanted to start the segment there. Then we'll take a little break, do a quick Celtics segment. Not a sex segment, a Celtics segment.
That's on our own.
Yeah, tune into that at Townie Sports. But we'll do our Celtics segment. I know you wanted to touch on the Celtics. We got the NBA coming, and we're obviously going to give you all the NBA analysis, as always, as we love to give you. And then we have a tremendous Townie takeaway today that I wanted to touch on, and I know you were all aboard about doing that, so we'll touch on that as well. So,
I want to hear your take of it from a person that genuinely watches a lot of international competition soccer, and by that I mean English Premier League, and I know you're a French League 1 fan. But yeah, I watch basically for the United States men's national team. I am a straight up mercenary, other than now this year Leeds United. But typically I have been a straight up mercenary. I'm excited to see your take on what Haaland. Should I keep it a secret?
That's okay. You already said it. I'm sure people can assume what it's going to be.
On what Haaland is doing and Haaland, or however you want to pronounce it, is doing in the Premier League right now and in all competitions.
Real quick backstory, Vic. So I don't know if you remember this. Just for the people that watch, and I get this question a lot, like, why am I a Man City fan? So as long as you've known me, I've always loved soccer. Right?
They're owned by Arabs.
Let me finish. So I've always loved soccer, right? And I've dabbled in the Premier League, but I was never like into it because I was more Serie A, Liga, like that was my thing, right? Inter PSG, like my whole life growing up. I think it was about
Geronimo.
What up, Geronimo? In 2008, 2009, I remember I would go to your house very frequently, and you guys would always have the Premier League on. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys watching? I was excited, though, because I'm like, oh, these guys are watching soccer, right? And you guys would constantly watch the Premier League every single weekend. And I knew about the teams. I knew the players. I knew everything about it. I just didn't really watch a lot of actual Premier League soccer. So, you're Leeds now, but I think at the time big Tottenham fan. We had some of your neighbors were like United fans, Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans, fans from everywhere, right? Like, and you guys would all gather and watch the games. And I'm like, man, I want to get invested in this, right? I want to follow a team. So I was like, who should I follow? And I remember watching a game with you guys. I think it was the Yaya Toure where he scored that goal from I think it was like 30 yards out.
Oh, God, what
He
a name.
scored that goal from like 30 yards out.
know.
And I loved Yaya.
That's what you're talking about. Too.
Yeah. And I was like, and it sounds fucked up, but I was like, I'm going to be a City fan. Like, this is sick. I love this. I want to be a City fan. I think the next year Aguero got there, and then that was the year that they ended up winning the league the following year. So, I mean, call me bandwagon, whatever. It's been since 09-ish, 08, 09. And yeah, I've just been following them since because I don't know. I can't just watch. I can watch a league to watch it, but I was like, I need something to get invested. So, jumped on the City bandwagon. That was before they got even better than they are now. Like, that was before they were as good as they are now, right? So, but anyway, that's the quick backstory. Let's get to NFL before we get into the the Premier League and bore people and people shut us off.
I will point this out though. Your two favorite teams, PSG, and
But I was PSG before the Arabs. I was PSG before the Arabs.
Were you? Okay, I'm just saying. I think Sammy is a little,
No, that was before the Arabs. That was the Dino when Dino was first there. And then I'm not that guy that's like when they leave, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch them anymore. I was like, all right, I'm committed. Like I have to stick. Then they got Zlatan and it was even better. But but all right, let's get to the NFL. So my first segment I wanted to do, are they legit? Are they legit? Sure. So obviously after 4 weeks, we have the Philadelphia Eagles as top of the power rankings in many people's eyes. I think both in our eyes. And I think if you guys watched our preseason, we warned you that the Eagles were going to be a very good team. We probably didn't think they were going to be the best team in the NFC, but we said this is a team that's probably going to win the division as they did get better. So Vic, what's your take on the Philadelphia Eagles? Are they legit? I mean, are they the real deal, or has they just faced crap competition?
Well, I just want to answer Anthony's question in the chat here really quickly before we get into this.
Oh yes.
Anthony, I think your money is safe with the under. I like the under here, and if you were gonna go spread, I'd go Denver plus -3. I'd give up the 3 points. And if you're going to go money line, I would take Denver money line as well. Denver at home on Thursday for a short week for both teams, but it's always better to be the home team when you're in a short week. I take Denver.
And what's your best bet for today? Any props you got?
My best prop bet is Mo Ali Cox under 1.5 receptions.
All right. I like the Michael Pittman over 5.5 receptions. And then there was a sneaky one that I saw put out there. Bradley Chubb over 0.5 sacks. I like that one too.
I like it. Yeah, I like that. Like it.
All right.
Your money is safe on the under, though, Anthony. Just FYI.
Yeah, take that under. I took it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Kurt, I hardly disagree, sir. I have to disagree.
I love Kurt.
So, anyway.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, fade me always. So Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk. Let's talk dirty. So I'm surprised. So we were high on them.
Probably not this high, but
okay. Well, so I'll tell you what I think of the Eagles right now. So as the state of the union with Philadelphia Eagles is, if you look at their skill positions, as I know we love to call them the skill positions, they have either, in my opinion, either an A or B player in that slot. So you look at quarterback. Right now he's playing as an A. Jalen Hurts has been incredible, right? And they have two incredible receivers in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, who does not apparently like the cold, right? But also their defense hasn't been bad either. I believe they were second in the league. Seventh in the league in total defense. And the only reason I don't have these numbers in front of me right now is because my computer is not moving fast enough for me. There we go. Finally, it loaded. Okay, so I have the Eagles with the second rated defense in the NFL according to the 22 team grades from Pro Football Focus. The 4th rated offense, the number 1 team overall, which makes sense because they're the only undefeated team in the league currently. Now, in terms of points scored, they have 115 points scored. That's 4th in the league. That's pretty damn good for an offense that we weren't too sure about and a quarterback that we weren't too sure about, right?
Right.
In terms of points allowed on defense, tied 9th with 71 points allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So now they do have a test coming up for them this week with the Cardinals. It's the sixth overall team in terms of power ranking versus the 16th. So we'll see what happens. I like the Eagles this weekend. I don't have the line in front of me, but I believe it was Eagles. Was it Eagles -5? I would take the 5. I think the Eagles go 5-0, Sammy.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say to heed caution is you do have to look at their strength of competition that they faced recently. You look at the Lions, the Commanders, Vikings, and Jags. Those aren't all great teams, but in 2022, not 2023 yet. In 2022, those are teams that are, but I'm saying, those are teams that are middling, and they're actually destroying those teams, right? So those are teams that, I mean, Vikings will get to, right? So consider the Vikings are one of the better teams.
Playoff team last year.
Right.
Vikings were a playoff team last year. The Lions play everybody close, right? And the Jags, don't sleep on the Jags this year. I think they could win this. That South is up for grabs. The AFC South is up for grabs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm saying those aren't anybody that you're not writing home to, right? Even despite what we have going on in 2022, we're still seeing Kirk Cousins struggles, and obviously we know that the Eagles' defense is better than advertised, or has been better than preseason advertisements. The Jags' offense is much better as well. Their defense has been also a lot better as well. So I mean, they are performing up to what those 2022 new standards are. And I think that's where we're seeing some of the shift in, people like you and I that watch the game and looking at teams and like dropping teams and bringing teams up. So you look at the Eagles, and I'm in agreement with you, but I think you got to heed a little bit of caution with as far as saying that they're the best team in the NFL. Even though they are the last 4-0 team, I don't think they're the best team in the NFL. They could potentially, though, be the best team in the NFC. I still think, I hate to say it, but I still think Green Bay has something up their sleeve. I just trust Aaron Rodgers more than Jalen Hurts at this current moment. But I'm coming around on Jalen Hurts. I will say that. I am coming around on Jalen Hurts.
Okay, well, I don't know, Sammy. I think that at the end of the year, we're going to look at the competition and say, wow, they had some pretty good competition there.
Right.
I mean, honestly, who do you think until week 12 is really going to challenge them?
I mean, if you look at Pro Football Focus, right, how they do their strength of schedule, so they just put one out for this week, and they're ranking teams based on, make playoffs and stuff like that. If you go to the betting tools, so in their power rankings, they have the Philadelphia Eagles as 10% chance to win the Super Bowl. Now, to date, the Philadelphia Eagles have the 30th strength of schedule, so that's in the first 4 weeks. So the 30th strength of schedule, so one of the worst. Or one of the easiest, which is good for them, right? That's good. You're blowing out your competition. Right. Kudos. You should. Right. Smoke your competition.
And the remaining is the 28th.
And the 28th. So they have a lot going for them. And that's tough to gauge when you get into the playoffs, right? I mean, but to be honest, they're going to face a lot of NFC teams going forward, and then they're going to face most of the NFC teams going into the playoffs. So it could benefit them to be the last NFC team standing. So yeah, I'm aboard with this team. I really like their defense. Like I said, I'm coming around on Jalen Hurts. Still not sure. Although, one of the stats that you told me to kind of look a lot more for is average depth of target, and obviously he is up there. I think he's about 8.5, so not in the 7s or 6s, which a lot of mediocre to bad quarterbacks have. So he is above that threshold in average depth of target. So I guess I have to start coming around on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, and you should have already been around on this team. They have the second highest percentage to make the playoffs according to Pro Football Focus. They have a 67% chance to win the NFC East, which is third most among any team in the league to win their division, and their Super Bowl odds, they are now the fourth favorite. So they are behind Buffalo, behind Kansas City, behind Tampa, as the fourth favorite to win the Super Bowl with a 10% chance to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yep.
So they should be on your radar.
Yep. No, they are.
That's all I'm saying.
They are. All right, switching gears to another team. They are not 4-0. Obviously, we only had one, but to a 3-1 team. Are the Chiefs? Or we can kind of combine them. Are the Chiefs still the team to beat in the AFC, or do you think it's the Buffalo Bills?
I don't know that there's a team in the AFC that scares me too much. I'll be honest with you. I think the NFC is winning the Super Bowl this year, whoever comes out of it. I don't like both these teams in the AFC have flaws, Kansas City and Buffalo. If you look at Kansas City, currently, of course, they're number 2 in the team grades according to Pro Football Focus, but it's because their offense is ranked 22nd. Their defense is ranked 20th in points allowed in the NFL.
Yep.
This defense is a defense that gets shredded. Now, granted, they have played some good teams, and some good quarterbacks. Like you mentioned, they just played Tom Brady last weekend and get shredded for 31. But if we look at strength of schedule, and I'm glad you brought this up last segment, or for the last team. But they are 5th in strength of schedule to date, with the remaining strength of schedule of 12. So they have played some decent teams, and they have had some close games. But if you look at their schedule overall, they beat Arizona, beat the Chargers, lost to the Colts, which is a weird one, right? Total trap game, in my opinion, and then beat the Bucs at Bucs. So it's a tough question if they're still the team to beat. I think until Buffalo takes the mantle and wins the AFC championship, then yes, the Kansas City Chiefs are still the team to beat.
Okay. No, I'm with you. I mean, I look at those two teams kind of in parallel, but I think the key here is looking at the Buffalo Bills overall as a team versus what the Chiefs can do offensively, right? I mean, the Bills have the 3rd strength of schedule after week 4, 26th strength of schedule the rest of the way. And then if you look at their defense, right, their defense is scary. And we already know about the Bills' offense, so we're not going to sit here and hammer the Bills' offense. We know how good that offense is, right? Everybody already knows. But you look at this defense, like, I don't think we understand how good this defense is. They're top 5 in sacks with a PFF grade of 86.6. And I think you pointed out last time, like, having a grade above that 85 is pretty incredible for any position or any team or any player stat. They're number 1 in interceptions, number 1 in yards against, number 2 in points against, and number 1 in overall point differential at plus 57. This Bills defense is scary, dude, and they're just gonna roll. I mean, 26 strength of schedule the rest of the way. That's like a joke. I mean, that's a testament to the AFC East, though, right? Because it's so garbage.
And you know what? I don't know that there's a true favorite in the East, Sammy. I'll be honest with you. I think that there's 3 or 4 teams that could be kind of.
Oh.
So you got Kansas City. You got.
You mean the AFC?
Yeah, I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I thought you said the East. I was like, are you kidding me?
Okay. I did say the East. That was my bad. I meant the AFC. That's my bad. So you got Kansas City. You have the Bills, and you have the Bengals and the Ravens.
I'm coming around on the Ravens, by the way. Not their defense, but I'm coming around their offense.
The fact that you haven't come around on the Ravens already is insane.
That defense is still atrocious. It's so overrated.
That defense that gave up 23 points to your fucking Mecca, God and Savior Josh Allen. Yeah.
It's not my Mecca. That's yours.
No, I know. I fuck Josh Allen. And Kurt, for you to say that the Bengals stink, I mean, that's just insanity. You need to take a chill pill. They lost the first 2 games of the season. It was a Super Bowl hangover. They've won 2 straight, one against a very good Bengals team, might I add. So, I'm sorry, a very good. They beat a very good Dolphins team. So I'm not sure you know what you're talking about. Tough test here though coming up on Sunday night. We have Bengals Ravens, so I'm looking forward to that. Probably the best Sunday night game we've gotten so far this year, in my opinion. But I digress. We were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Are they still a team to beat? I originally said yes. I'm going to say no. I think there's a whole plethora of teams in the East, in the AFC that can win. I'm thinking basketball. I'm already basketball already, Sammy. I'm thinking East and West.
I just want to let you. I'm gonna name some defenses that are, or I'm gonna name a couple defenses, right? And I want you to tell me if this defense is better, without looking, better or worse than the Baltimore Ravens. Okay?
No, I'm gonna look away just to prove.
Say better or worse. Okay.
Okay.
The Green Bay Packers.
Worse.
Okay. The New Orleans Saints.
Better.
New York Jets.
Better.
Minnesota Vikings.
Worse.
Denver Broncos.
Worse.
Those last two you were incorrect on. So the Vikings have a better defense. The Broncos have a better defense. And also, might I add, the Carolina Panthers have a better defense than the Baltimore Ravens, according to Pro Football Focus. Overall defense. So overall defense. The Baltimore Ravens, according to Pro Football Focus, are 18, so they're middling. I'm not saying they... So I guess I should take it back. I'm not saying they suck. They're over. It's an overrated defense. I think we see the purple. I think we think it's as good as it like it's this, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis defense, but they don't play there anymore. And you look at that Miami game, that's just one example of how many yards they give up and how many scores they give up at the end of games. It's their issue is finishing games. So
yeah.
All right. All right. So are they legit?
Just to go back, I'm sorry. You're right about their issues. They didn't finish off the Bills either.
Right.
Otherwise, they are a 4-0 team if they finish these games.
Right.
So if they can figure out a way to finish these games, they're 4-0 right now.
Yeah. So the Miami Dolphins. Now they're
Never a problem for us.
3-1 currently. Second strength of schedule to date, and 29th going forward. Obviously, this Tua injury, really scary, really, really sad. They're just coming off a loss to your Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Vic, right now, are the Miami Dolphins legit? And you can even touch on with or without Tua, because obviously that's in question.
Now, legit is a strange word. Yes, I think they are legitimate. Are they legitimately supposed to be 3-1? No. But are they a playoff team? Yes, I think they're a wild card team. If you look at their strength of schedule to date, they have had the second hardest strength of schedule to date. Their remaining schedule is 29th. So things are going to get a lot easier for this team. Pro Football Focus projects them at a 68% chance to win the division. To make the playoffs. And a 24% chance to win the division. So, pretty interesting stuff there. But if I'm a Dolphins fan, even without Tua, I do feel like I still have a chance. I don't know if I feel great about it. You look at Teddy Bridgewater's PFF grades this season so far, and they are atrocious. 53.5, not great.
Yikes!
You're going to need him to be better.
Yeah,
like a lot better. I don't know that Tua is going to come back this year.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, Sammy.
I don't either, and I think there's two roles at play here, right? There's obviously the risk of him, so obviously his health, which is first and foremost. Then there's the image of the Dolphins if they were to trot him out there like that. How does that look on your team? You already look bad after what just recently happened, and now you're going to have him go out there and play again. So I think you're right.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because if you look at their offense as a whole, Tyreek Hill has been the third best wide receiver according to Pro Football, and all these numbers are according to Pro Football Focus. So I'm not going to say it every time, but Tyreek Hill's been the third best wide receiver. Jalen Waddle has been the seventh best wide receiver. And their offensive line has been pretty solid, other than the left guard and right tackle positions. Their left tackle's 9th out of 70, center is 6th out of 36, and their right guard is 6th out of 71. So decent offensive line there. Numbers from Pro Football Focus. Their issue is going to be quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and to add on, Tyreek Hill is leading the league in yards, 477 yards and 2 touchdowns on the year.
Yeah, and what
So,
Waddle and Hill have done this season has been nothing less than incredible. As two wide receivers in tandem. I mean, I think they were both over 400 yards, right, for the season so far. And I think that's the first time two wide receivers have been over 400 yards in this how many games.
well,
For the
Jalen Waddle's
first
got
time.
380. He's not at 400 yet, but
It was something like 350 or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. But it was some ridiculous stat I saw on Thursday Night Football last week. But
Yeah.
I mean, what the Miami's organization did with Tua is unfortunate, and I just hope that he plays again sometime. I don't know, he might retire.
Yeah. All right, the other team that's a little bit more shocking. I mean, I know they're 2-2, but again, this is a situation where I don't think any of us expected them to be at 2-2. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had humongous wins against the Chargers and the Colts, kind of two teams that a lot of people favored in their respective divisions. I mean, the Colts in their own division. I mean, I don't know what to make. Like, I don't know. I just, that.
Well, and then they lose to the Commanders.
Yeah.
And that kind of
Right.
Right. So I mean, I think this is a team that could possibly win the division. I think that we're seeing big things happen from Christian Kirk. I think we always knew that guy was in there. He had that dog in him.
He does.
And he's been good this season in the slot, 39th out of 106 wide receivers. So now you want to take a look at their strength of schedule so far, and let's be honest, the Jacksonville Jaguars haven't played anybody that great, but it has been the 8th hardest strength of schedule so far. So even though they did lose to the freaking Commanders.
And yes, Kurt did say that the Jaguars are going to win the division earlier this season. So
I don't know. Show me the receipts. I don't know about that.
I'll go back and I'll look at the chat.
But I mean, the just a dropping of the Colts, beating the Chargers handily, and then that narrow. I know it's still an 8-point loss, but it looked it looked a lot closer.
It was. It wasn't a final drive thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know if it was a final drive as much as it was like a final 2 drives thing.
Yeah.
But they were in it. They were in it. I don't know, Sammy. How do you feel about that? I mean, I feel like the Jags are your team.
I don't love what I'm seeing from Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't love. I like it, but I don't love it. I thought a bigger leap for him. I mean, he is improving, but then when you look at kind of I mean, he's not top. I think I'm trying to see where he is.
25th out of 33.
Right, and it's not great as far as his overall ranking goes. I'm trying to find here. I'm pulling it up here. How many yards he has received or throwing this year? Like he's not. Oh yeah. So he's only got 946 yards on the season. I mean, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. You love that, right? I mean, that's you always want to be that positive when it comes to touchdown to interception ratio.
He's bringing down the interceptions, right? What were his interceptions last year?
They were much higher than that, I think, at this point. And yards per attempt, 7.1. But, you look at his average depth target, it's about middling, right? It's like 7.5. And then his completion percentage is on, the lower end, which is, you want it above 65. He's right at 65%. So, I mean, he's getting it done. So I guess I can't complain that he is getting the job done. And I think it's a testament to the change in the people around him in that organization. And that I think what Doug Peterson does is with quarterbacks is pretty incredible too. I got to give him a lot of props as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it really though, Sam, you look last year he had a total of 12 touchdowns. This year he already has 8, and we're a quarter way through the season. That's a huge improvement there.
Right. Last
year 17 total picks, 2 this year. His interception percentage is 1.5, so 1.5. Whereas as at the end of last year it was 2.8. Okay, his QBR has nearly doubled, and it's pretty it was pretty basic last year, 33.5. So it's pretty easy to double that. But at least we're seeing improvement. At least we're seeing growth. Average yard per attempt, 7.1 this year, opposed to 6 last year. Yards per completion, 10.1 last year. 10 point. Everything he's doing this year is slightly better than last year, and that's what you want to see. You want to see at least some growth there. Yeah. I'm rooting for the guy.
Not the craziest amount of talent either around him. So let's be real with that. I mean, Kirk is great. Yeah. Kirk's got that dog in him, but I mean.
Yeah, but that's about it. I agree.
Right.
So where do we stand on Jacksonville? I have them winning the division still.
Wait, can you repeat that as a full sentence?
No, I'm with Curtis, so I will give Kurt his credit if he wants it. But I'm with him. I think they win the division this year.
Who wins the division?
Jacksonville Jaguars win the division. Who else is going to win the division, Sammy?
Nobody, dude. I mean, not the Colts. Jesus.
They're bad. Matt Ryan's washed.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Before we get there, the other team 3-1. Oh, so my take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think they're good. I think it's kind of fluky, so I'm with you. I think they have the potential to win the division. I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to win a division. I think there's still a lot of football left, and just from what I'm seeing, it's still a little bit shaky there with 2-2. But I mean, strength of schedule looks very favorable for them. But I just think, I'm with you though. They'll win the division, wild card exit, and that's probably it.
Let's go golfing this weekend.
But the Minnesota Vikings, also 3-1. I don't know. Like, I can never gauge, and I think you pointed it out perfectly. They're just so meh. Like, them and the Packers. I think you said that whole division besides the Lions, because we love the Lions.
I love the Lions. I'm all in on the Lions.
So meh. I mean, I don't know what to make of them, because they're 3-1, but it's like you watch their games and you're just not impressed, right?
Yeah.
It's like a quiet 3. It's like Anthony Davis when he drops like 38 points. It's like, but it just doesn't look that. Like, it's just so, okay, cool, you did that. Like, whatever.
And it's like, even like Kirk Cousins is just meh. You know, the guy from what's his name? The guy from Florida State.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook. I love him, but he's always hurt. Justin Jefferson's a great story, but But then you look at the numbers, Sammy, and that's what really turns it around for me. You look at the numbers, the Pro Football Focus numbers. You got Jefferson, the 34th ranked wide receiver at 106. Thielen, the 43rd out of 106. Kirk Cousins, the 11th out of 33 quarterbacks, and Dalvin Cook, the 21st out of 57 running backs. All these guys, all these skill position players on this team are what they call on Pro Football Focus in the green. So they're all like green, good ratings, above 65, I think, rating. They're all above 65. Solid players. And it just speaks to this team's because they're just so like average, you know?
They're good. And they're not great. They're good.
They're good, right? They're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're probably going to make the playoffs. What is their percentage to make the playoffs here? So out of the, let's see here, Minnesota.
70%.
70%, really? Okay, yeah. So here we go. 70% of to make the oh my God, and the Green Bay Packers are 84%. That's crazy. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Favorable strength of schedule for them going forward. And they're, I mean, their defense is good. Rated highly on Pro Football Focus. They're top 10 overall in points allowed. So, I mean, like you mentioned, they have a good offense and a probably closer to great defense as far as relatively speaking in the NFL. So, yeah, I guess, you're right. They're just so,
Yeah, and if you look at, in London, which is always weird, right? But Justin Jefferson, another game, 10 targets, 7 catches, 93 yards. So, solid game from him. He's definitely, now I know we're switching gears and talking fantasy now, but in terms of fantasy players, and if you're in a dynasty league, I think Justin Jefferson might be my number one. Definitely top 3.
Yeah.
In terms of fantasy players I want to have on my team in a dynasty league.
Yeah, especially after, kind of seeing the duds Jonathan Taylor's putting up. Javonte Williams obviously torn ACL, so that doesn't look very good for him either.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's up there. I like Crystal. We'll get to it. We're always jumping the gun.
Are we on my bad?
No, you're good. It's we're always on the same page, though. We're always on the same page.
Yeah.
All right, so this was my final team to write down. You can add in one after as well, because I didn't want to go too long, because we still have also the worry time, panic mode segment. But the final team that I wanted to kind of get to that was kind of a shock is the New York Giants are surprisingly 3-1, with wins over the Bears, Panthers, and the Titans. Yippee. 31st strength of schedule to this point, I believe. Let me look at it real quick. Yep, 31st strength of schedule to this point. Are they fakes? Are they actually scrubs, Vic? Or is this a team that, might challenge in the division at least?
No, they're scrubs. Yeah, they're not good. Have you watched them play? I watched a little bit.
I watched week 1, and then I sat there and tried to watch week 2, and I was like, this is awful. Week 1 was fun though. Saquon was fun that first week.
I had some beans on them in the Cowboys. Was the Cowboys game? Yeah, it was the Cowboys game, the Monday night game. Yeah, and it was tough to watch, man.
Yeah.
It was not great. I love that their grip. They just don't have a quarterback, man. This. Daniel Jones might be the worst quarterback starting in the league. That's like normal. That's a normal starter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not including Teddy Bridgewater or any of those guys. The interesting, but here's the thing: is I do like them as a betting team, right? They're 3-1 against the spread right now.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Giants against the spread.
Yep.
And they go into Green Bay this week.
Speaking of bad teams against the spread, the Atlanta Falcons are currently 4-0 against the spread.
Are you serious?
They are.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They're not good, but they're 4-0.
No, but I love that. I love to hear that. That's how we make money here, or magic beans.
Yeah.
So I like them. I like them this week against the Green Bay Packers +8. Ride the signs, as Jersey Jerry would say.
I gotta give a quick shout out to my boy Bobby. Bobby Digital, what is up, bro? I mean, I apologize that we're ragging on your New York Giants right now. I'm letting you live that high, but I'm trying to temper your expectations going forward. Like, I don't want you to be surprised when this plane comes crashing down. That's probably a bad pun coming from me.
Well, because they are terrible.
Yeah, it is tough to watch. I mean, if they had an answer. And I think this is my biggest thing. I think their defense is showing signs of coming back around to that Giants defense. But it's not great yet, but it's getting there. They got a lot of young talent on that defense. The offense looks like it's coming to something, and what Dayball is... I give all the credit to Dayball. Whatever he's doing, it's working. However, I'm with you. I just don't think Daniel Jones is the right guy for the job. And I also think that when your best wide receiver was Sterling Shepard, and you have to use him so much that he constantly gets hurt, and when he's off the field, your pass offense just looks so blah. And you spent $30 million, I believe, on Kenny Golladay, and he hasn't turned out worth a shit. Like that's the definition of a player that took the bag and don't care.
He's not even listed on Pro Football Focus on their depth chart. That's how bad he's been. So yeah. Golladay is definitely no show. The offensive line also has been an issue for them as well. I think this team is winning games on their from their defense, and that's the way that they're going to continue to do so moving forward. It's going to be Saquon controlling the clock, right? And it's going to be, and by the way, Saquon having his best season ever.
Good.
Right?
I'm happy for him though. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, fuck him. I traded him, and now I'm shit's creek without a paddle in Dynasty League. But good for him. Whatever. Happy for him. Oh my God, this guy. All right, guy, we get it in the chat. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Just let it happen. The more chats we get, the more people come in.
Hey, more engagement. Keep typing. So we got Saquon Barkley having his best season ever. But that's how they're going to win games. Control the clock. Keep the ball out of Daniel Jones' hand.
Temper your expectations, Giants fans. You guys are really, really scrubs. You have a great coach. You have a good defense. Things will turn around. This might not be your year, though.
Yeah.
All right. So let's split up this segment, right? So I call this segment the Townie Sports Digress. So we're gonna digress real quick. And I know everybody's shocked about that we didn't start the segment or start the show with the Patriots, but this is our Townie Digress. We're gonna touch on the New England Patriots. Give me some thoughts in your head, Vic, on the state of the New England Patriots right now. Anything that could come to your mind, and unless you don't want to talk about it.
No, I mean I don't like talking about my teams too much because I just feel like biased. But I mean this team sucks. Like defensively they suck, offensively they suck. Mac Jones sucks. I want to try that Zappy kid. Keep that Zappy kid out there. Let's see what he's got. I think Mac Jones is a bust. It's time to cut him out. I said it from the beginning as soon as we got him. He's a bust. The only reason he was anything in Alabama is because he was passing to two freaking Hall of Fame wide receivers. I mean, anybody could. They were open the whole time. So I mean, Mac Jones. See you later, buddy.
Yeah, I'm coming around on that as well. However,
Wow.
I think
You?
it's my Lord and Savior Mac Jones. You better hush your mouth. I think the pass protection needs a lot of work. I think we passed on linebackers that we should have gotten in the draft. I think like 2 or 3 times already, and we're seeing it now that the defense. I actually am more positive about the defense than I am about the offense. In a sense that
everybody but the front line sucks, dude. Everybody but the front line sucks.
Right, and that's I was going to get to that and say we do not deserve Matthew Judon.
No.
We should trade him to a contender. I like the running game. I mean, I think Bill has shown a knack for hitting on running backs, or at least setting motions in play to make running backs succeed. I hate the vanilla play calling. And why is your second best wide receiver not fucking playing? I'm sorry, but I know Devontae Parker's our best wide receiver, and he's shown a lot, but he can't do it if he doesn't have anybody else, because what teams are doing against us is they're just doubling Devontae Parker because nobody else can catch the ball. You throw Kendrick Bourne out there, he's one of the top-rated, like, Pro Football Focus wide receivers, but he doesn't play. And it's ridiculous. Like, for what? Because he was honest about he has no idea what's going on with this offense because you don't have an offensive coordinator?
I thought it was Kobe Myers that said that. That's why he's out.
Bourne did, too.
Is that why they keep him out? Really? I can't stand Bill and his fucking ego, dude. I mean, that's the real thing. Is this guy is the biggest ego.
I mean, he hits on defense though. Jack Jones is legit.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. But I also love the fact that Jalen Mills is out there every play. He's the 103rd ranked corner out of 105.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy. I mean,
He's not a one,
but he missed.
He's not a one.
He missed on 50.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear. Bill has lost a step, guys. Sorry. I mean, this team sucks. This roster construction sucks. It looks like this team looks like it was built in the 1950s to play against Bart Starr in the fucking Snow Bowl or some shit. I don't want to watch this team play. This team is boring. I mean, I think it's time to upgrade. I think we should have went with McDaniels when we had the chance. I think we're going to struggle for a long time now trying to replace Bill as a head coach.
Yeah. And I think our problems have always stemmed because with the roster construction, with Bill Belichick being the overseer of everything. He's the GM, he's the talent scout, he's coach, he's coordinator, he's all of it. And it's just stick to your defense, make head coaching decisions, but give somebody else the GM role. Like, God, let somebody else evaluate talent, because clearly you don't know how to draft wide receivers. You don't know how to draft offensive talent.
Yeah, if you look at like after Scott Pioli left, you see that the talent dropped off, and I think that's where Brady really started to shine, right? And that's where it became Brady winning championships over Belichick.
Right.
Is when Bill took over as the GM and head coach. I think the only reason that we were won any of those championships was because of Tom Brady, and maybe in spite of Bill Belichick's roster construction. And yeah, I know it is what it is.
All right. Anyway, so which brings us to our next segment. It's a perfect segue. I did this perfectly. Worry time or
Hold on, I gotta answer BP's comment here because he says without Bill we are bottom barrel.
we already are.
BP, I don't know if you've looked at the standings lately, but we are bottom barrel. We're 1-3.
Yeah. So, worry time or relax is the next segment, and it brings us to the first team on this segment is the New England Patriots. Is it worry time for New England Patriots fans, Vic? Obviously, they got a little taste as to what we thought.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Just yes, you hate them. They suck.
Oh, I didn't know if this is like one of those types of segments. Do I go in or do I just?
Oh, you go in.
mean,
Go in.
okay, so
The
yes,
opposite of
yes.
legit. This is the opposite of legit.
Rewind. Yes. Rewind and just rewind and see everything I just said. I'm worried about this team. I am. Again, Sammy, it's the roster construction thing. I don't think that we have the pieces in place to be successful. I don't think Mac Jones is good. I think Ramondre is good. I like Ramondre. I like
Damien.
Damian.
I like Bourne.
But Bourne's fine, and I think he did hit on Thornton, but I just don't think that. I just don't like everything else. Everything else, I forget. I just don't like it.
Yeah, and I mean, to counter BP's point, I see what you're saying with if they lose by 10 plus, it's on Bill. But you got to understand that when you're judging Bill Belichick, it's as a whole. It's not just on the head coaching. And I agree with you in that aspect that he is coaching up a bad roster. It's true. Yeah, we should be losing by 10 plus with a roster construction like this. But who created this roster? It's Bill Belichick created this roster that could potentially be winning games. You look at a situation where the Patriots could have had Nakobe Dean. He was there for the taking. Imagine if this defense had Nakobe Dean. You think it's better, Vic? I think it's better. I think it's much improved.
Of course it's better.
DK Metcalf. I know we always bring it up, but DK Metcalf.
That one's hurts.
Over N'Keal Harry? Like
Deebo Samuel, too.
Deebo Samuel. You know, this is the roster construction he put together. He missed on offensive players. This offense can't function. But anyway.
He can't. I mean, but nobody's saying that he can't coach anymore.
No.
The thing is, he's a horrible GM.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing here now. He's great at saving money, but
should he go coach the Red Sox?
Yeah. Let's look at what he did with the year he went and spent money. Right.
Right.
He wasted on 2 tight ends, who we rarely use. Right. He got Judon, which was a great get.
I can't even say they're bust because we don't even use them. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the thing. Yeah.
All right. I think this is a 4-win team.
I think we might be in the running for Bryce Young next year.
Yeah, I think this is a 4-win team, bro.
I hope so.
I'm gonna watch every game. I'm gonna root for them every game. I'm gonna think they're gonna win every game, but I don't believe in it.
But here's the thing though is if say the Pats do get the number 1 overall pick next year, do you think Bill would think he was wrong about Mac Jones and go with Bryce Young or
no.
CJ Stroud?
Fuck no. He'll probably he'll draft a tackle or something.
Exactly. or he'll trade down
from Wichita State or something.
Yeah, and it's just that's the thing. He take the GM keys away from him. Let him coach, but take the GM keys away from him.
He's still a hell of a coach. I will say that. But all right, the other team, worry time or relax, the Indianapolis Colts, starting 1-2-1. And the only reason why we're saying this is because we're looking at a situation where the Colts had a solid defense last year. Great, probably the RB1 last year. A team that just needed a quarterback, and they got one. And we get a team that's 1-2-1 that just doesn't look good at all. What say you about the Indianapolis Colts? Is it worry time? Should you panic?
Yeah, no, you should panic if you're a Colts fan. This team looks terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt Ryan has not been as advertised. I mean, the yardage looks really good. I mean, this is what he does, right? I mean, he puts up the yardage, but you're looking at a team that's 17 strength of schedule. With the roster construction there, should be at least 2-2, should be, maybe 3-1 by this point. And it's 23rd going forward. So, I mean, it's middling, right? It's like a middle schedule the whole way through, and, you're already 1-2-1.
Middling is your word today.
I like that word. I like that word.
Keep going.
But yeah, and then now you got the Jonathan Taylor injury popping up, and that's not good because you look at injuries like this that can linger for the entire season. It's not a complete break. It's not a complete tear. It's something that's probably just going to come up every single week, and that doesn't look good if your RB1 is out. And he hasn't even been good to this point either, so.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I mean, your offense, who you said just needed a quarterback, and we all agreed with them when they said that, is 32nd in the league in points scored. The defense has been solid, middle of the pack.
Middling?
But, yeah, what's that?
Middling,
yeah. I didn't want to say it. But it is what it is. Tough look.
Very tough look. All right, the other team, to worry or not to worry, the Los Angeles Rams. So currently 2-2. Looks like a little bit of a hangover for the Rams, huh?
Yeah, but I'm not worried.
You're not?
No, are you?
I'm a little bit worried. Worried.
What makes you worried?
The offense. I think we're seeing a lot of holes in the defense, but I don't know if that's holes or if it's fatigue, because it could be a combination of both. It could be that there are actually holes, gaping holes in that defense that are being exposed or that were exposed from last season. Obviously, they have injuries on that defense as well. Jalen Ramsey just doesn't look very good this year. And that's your bread and butter on your defense is Jalen Ramsey.
What's funny is you said that, but he's the third ranked cornerback.
Dude, he's gotten smoked on every big play this year, though. That's what's insane.
Hey man, this is what they gave us.
No, I'm with you. But when you watch the games, the big receivers are smoking him, like Diggs in week 1. Deebo Samuel, what was it, 3 nights ago?
I'm just telling you what I see, sir.
Yeah. But they did have the 6th strength of schedule coming into week 5, 13th the rest of the way. So I probably put a worry meter at it if I had to grade it. So, 1 to 10. So 1 being not worried, 10 being panic. I'm probably at a 7 if I'm a Rams fan.
Wow, I'm probably not even at a 4. Wow. Might be at a 3. Yeah.
I mean, Allen Robinson is a dud.
Super Bowl hangover. Allen Robinson's a dud because they don't pass on the ball. They just pass it to Cooper Kupp the whole time.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, that's an offensive problem you have. I mean, OBJ seems like he was super important to that team.
Well, that is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they got Cooper Kupp and then they got Skornick on the other side.
Skornick.
All right. So the other team on the worry meter, only because they came off a pretty big loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are currently 2-2. Going into this week, they had the toughest strength of schedule, so they were first, and I think that's a testament to what their record is, which is pretty good, right? If you have the first strength of schedule, you're 2-2. Yeah, you gotta love that. And that, but it's 31st the rest of the way. So I'm not worried. I'm maybe a little tiny bit worried because of kind of the injuries that are popping up on the offensive player side. But with a schedule like that going forward, you got Tom Brady on your side. But there is the issues at home with Tom Brady. So what do you think, Vic? Are you worried for the Bucs?
No.
Not at all.
Nope. Tom Brady.
Okay. You got them winning the Super Bowl?
No.
No. But all right, the final team on my no.
I just don't like talking about Tom Brady.
Yeah, me neither.
It hurts my feelings. We chose the wrong way.
Yeah. The fact that we're talking about Bill Belichick like this, I guess I don't blame Tom Brady after all. So,
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we chose the wrong guy.
But all right, the last team on my worry meter or panic or relax is the Las Vegas Raiders. A team that, we didn't think was going to win the division, but we thought would be competitive going into the season because of all the additions they had from last year, and last year coming off, kind of the end of the season last year and getting Devontae Adams. 1-3 right now, but they are coming off a win against Denver. I want to give a funny stat, right? Before I let you take off. The loss, and this is something I pointed out as well, I think on one of our segments when we were talking with the Fairweather podcast. I said the Las Vegas Raiders just refuse to run the ball effectively. They don't run the ball enough, and even though their defense is good enough to keep them in games, they don't run the ball. They don't work the clock to their advantage. I know it's only one game, or I know it's only 4 games, but the Las Vegas Raiders are 1-0 when Josh Jacobs has 20 or more rush attempts. Every other game, he's had no more than like 13 rush attempts in a game. And all those games were close. None of those games were blowouts. Like, all those games were close. They didn't have to sling the ball the whole time. Now, with that being said, are you worried for the Las Vegas Raiders?
Yeah, I am. They're 1-3 right now. Now, am I worried at their long-term prospects? No. But in terms of right now, I think they're going to dig themselves into enough of a hole where they can't climb out of it to make it to the playoffs. I think that Josh McDaniels will end up steering the ship the right way, and we'll start talking about 2 or 3 weeks, 3 or 4, no, longer than that, probably 3 or 4 weeks from now. We'll be talking, hey, the Raiders have won 3 out of 4, or 4 out of 5. Are they heating up? But I just don't think it's going to be enough, and especially in this division where they're chasing the Chargers and the Chiefs. I don't know that they're going to, because I don't know that there's going to be enough wild card spots for them to get in, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I think there's other teams that have set themselves up better, and I don't know that they're going to have enough time to turn it around.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So that's the only reason why I'm panicking. I'm not panicking long term. I think you're going to be okay long term. I think, as weird as it sounds, that you have the right coach in place right now, McDaniels. Things moving forward are going to get better. I think Carr isn't a great quarterback. I think he's a Kirk Cousins, right? I think he's as Sammy likes to say, a middling quarterback. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's what you need right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other team that you, off the top of your head, Vic, that you want to kind of touch on as worry, or that you're really impressed with so far?
No, I think you got all of them.
All right. So right before we switch gears, I want to do this little fun segment and just kind of see where we're at and see if we agree on anything to this point. All right. Who would you rather have right now? Now, not technically going forward, but just let's say this season in a vacuum, right? Who would you rather have from
this season in a vacuum?
This season, nothing before, nothing after, just this season in a vacuum.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert?
Is this fantasy or like real life?
You could choose either. Or no, real life. Let's say real life.
This season? Oh man, this is tough. The first one's tough.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with recency bias, and I'm just gonna go Jalen Hurts.
Oh, you son of a bitch. I was really hoping, I swear to God, I texted Robbie, I said, I'm doing this segment, and I know he's going to go Justin Herbert. I have all this shit ready to prepare to talk about Jalen Hurts, but you picked the wrong side, so I got to give you props on that. I wanted to start a little battle on our podcast. We need some more controversy. But all right. The second one. Now we're talking about middling quarterbacks. Geno Smith or Derek Carr?
Oh, this is stupid. Derek Carr.
Really?
It's not even close. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Really, Geno Smith? We've seen seasons with Geno Smith. We've seen seasons with Derek Carr.
I know we have. But, dude, Geno Smith, right now, according to Pro Football Focus.
There's literally no stat you can tell me that I would want Geno Smith over David Carr, or Derek Carr. This is insanity. That this was even a question. I can't even. Are you serious right now?
6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions versus 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Okay, but how many times is Geno throwing the ball? You know what I mean? Like, How many of these are like pressure situations? Let's
It's only a
take a look.
20 attempt difference in 4 games. That's 5 attempts a game.
That could be a lot. And how many of these are?
But Derek Carr only has 2 more yards with 5 more attempts a game.
There's no way I'm taking Geno Smith over Derek Carr. I don't care how bad of a season he's having so far. There's no chance. And also Geno Smith's probably throwing one of the best wide receivers, two of the best wide receivers in the league.
And Derek Carr's not?
No, he's throwing it one good one. That's it. He's probably double covered every time. Devontae Adams. That's it.
All right.
No, there's no way. Absolutely not. There's nothing you can say to me that would make me want Geno Smith over Derek Carr. Come on.
You were also the guy all over Geno Smith last week. I just want you to know.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're looking at my would you rather. You're ruining it. So my next one is, now you've already seen it, Saquon Barkley or Nick Chubb.
Yeah, this one's going to be Nick Chubb, and this one has nothing to do with statistics, but it has to do with how long is Saquon's health going to stay in factor. Now, if we're talking straight statistics, I would take Saquon all day.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to tell me both these guys are going to be 100% the rest of the season, I'd take Saquon Barkley because he's the better player. He was the better player coming out of college. He was the better player when they actually play. But Chubb is the more healthy of the two. Clearly, Nick Chubb is my guy.
Okay. All right, the fourth one, Josh Jacobs or Jonathan Taylor.
Give me the healthy guy always. I'll take Josh Jacobs. I'll take the healthy guy over the hurt guy.
You're picking the wrong side every time. This is no fun. I'm gonna get you though. One of these weeks we're gonna duke it out. All right, this one's a funner. These last two are fun.
We just spent the last 30 minutes talking about how bad the freaking Colts were. You want me to take Jonathan Taylor?
I know I should have did this segment first. All right, so the next one, I think this is a fun one. Chris Olave, it's a little battle of the rookies, or Drake London.
Oh yeah, this is Chris Olave all day. Yeah, Chris Olave. I know he has been statistically. Has he been statistically better? Probably not, right?
Numbers wise, yes. So like the straight to statistics, yes. But as far as a Pro Football Focus ranking, he is not better.
I like Olave better. I liked Olave better out of college. I don't like USC wide receivers. I think they're soft.
I'm going with Drake London here.
Really?
I like Drake London better.
He has a terrible quarterback throwing it to him too. I mean, you got to factor that in.
They both do. If you think about it.
I don't think Jameis is terrible. I think Jameis is middling. Word of the day.
Oh man, yeah, I'm taking Drake London there. I mean, I know the stats are pointing more towards Chris Olave, just from a straight stats perspective. Over the top, you look at 335 yards, a touchdown. Drake London on the other side has 231 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, I think you also look at what does Jameis do? He loves to fucking sling the ball down the field, and you got Chris Olave running deep routes. Obviously, he's going to get more volume catches or higher yardage catches than Drake London will. But as far as overall standings, I mean, I was actually really surprised that because I expected Chris Olave to actually be Pro Football Focus ranked higher than Drake London, just from an eye perspective, seeing how they're both pretty effective and how Chris Olave is like top 10 in most of the receiving stats. But Drake London is actually rated higher. Receiving.
Drake London physically, like as a physical specimen, he's huge.
Yeah.
6'5", 210, big guy, can get down the field, great on the jump ball. But I'm not a big fan of USC wide receivers. Yeah. I don't think I ever will be.
All right, the last one: Cooper Kupp or Devontae Adams.
This just feels like a trap, but I'm going to take Cooper Kupp all day. He's the number 1 rated wide receiver on Pro Football Focus. I don't know I don't know what crazy stat you're going to give me that says, "Oh, Devontae Adams was better this season." It's just I don't believe it. Oh,
No,
you don't have one?
No,
Oh.
I was hoping you would go the other way, just because of
No,
just
no,
from a
I'm the other
well,
way.
okay, from a straight like a specimen perspective, like Devontae Adams is clearly the better athlete than Cooper Kupp, right?
Why?
100%.
Why?
There's no better route runner than Devontae Adams. No shot.
Is A-Rod talking about you behind your back? What's going on here?
Yeah, racist.
I know. I think Cooper Kupp's fine, man. There's a reason why he's always open. I mean, because he's a great route runner, a great athlete. I get Devontae Adams is good in his own right, but I mean, there's no better football player at the wide receiver position in the National Football League than Cooper Kupp right now.
So that was a little fun. What'd you think? Pretty fun? That was pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot.
All right. So, Vic, I know before we get to our Townie takeaway, you wanted to do a little Celtics talk. Since the NBA is coming up, we got the preseason going on right now. And, of course, the Boston Celtics are in the midst of a crazy scandal that we still don't have any information of. But we don't talk too much about what's going on in that prospect, just as how it affects the roster and, what goes on in the team. So it's unfortunate with what's going on. We hope, everything goes well with all that or however it goes. But I think that does affect how the Celtics are going to perform this season. But anyway, besides that, what are you seeing in preseason right now from the Boston? Give me it. Let's get hyped.
I love it. I love what I'm seeing. I think Malcolm Brogdon was the guy we were waiting for all this time. He's been incredible. I love what I've seen from Blake Griffin in terms of what he's done on the bench. He hasn't played it all yet, but I like his bench energy. I think he's a calming presence to the guys. I like that. I like what I see from the schemes. I like what I see from Hauser. Looks incredible. I have an echo right now.
It's weird.
I'll wait for Sammy to figure out that echo real quick before I go any further.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Vic?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. I think it should be fixed now. I don't know what happened.
Okay. So let us know if we still have an echo. So whatever happened with Ime Udoka was just
all right. We're good.
Ridiculous. I mean, what the hell was he thinking? Very disappointing. The guy's name, what's his name right now? Joe Mazzulla, filling in for him. I think he's going to do a fine job. That's one of Brad's guys.
And JT's.
And who?
And JT.
Jason Tatum? I didn't know that. Okay, that's good to know. One of Brad's guys that he brought in while he was still head coach. We got to remember, we still have an Eastern Conference coach in our GM office right now. If you don't think he's talking to Mazzulla almost every day, then you don't know basketball. I'm not too worried about losing Ime Udoka. And to be honest with you, this might be revisionist history, but I don't know that he was that great of a coach. I thought he was okay, but even in the Eastern Conference Finals, he had problems adjusting constantly and holding on to leads. He never figured out how to hold on to late leads, and it didn't make sense to me. Even when the Celtics were on their run, the reason that they were on their run is they'd go up by 50 points at halftime and end up winning by 10. So, it is what it is. I think we'll be all right. I'm not too worried about losing Udoka. I think he's a dickhead for what he did. You had it all, and this is what you do. It really upsets me. It really gets my gears grinding. But yeah, I think we're gonna be all right, Sammy. I'm looking forward to this year. I think Malcolm Brogdon's gonna have a career year.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. I mean, the only thing that I can think off the top of my head that I'm concerned with is just now you and I have hammered all year how we just hated Ime Udoka's X's and O's, and I think it showed a lot of times in the playoffs. But I think there's something to be said for a coach and how he demands the respect, and I definitely think he had the respect of the whole team, and it wasn't until midseason to the end of the year where he got that respect, and I think that's what helped us provide that push because they trusted in him a little more. But again, just because they trusted in him doesn't mean he made the right decisions
Right.
on the court with what the Celtics were doing. And that's why, like you mentioned perfectly, we had these leads, blowing them, and then we would win. But, it still was just such a nail biter in certain situations when it shouldn't be, because he's up against coaches that are willing to make adjustments and he's not, willing to make those changes and he's not. So from an X's and O's perspective, yes, I'm with you. I definitely think Brad Stevens is going to have his hands in the pot as well. It's not just going to be Joe Mazzulla, but I'm hoping Joe Mazzulla can get the respect of these players, because we're at a perspective now with this team where these aren't just young guys anymore. These are all-stars. These are big boys. Like, can you imagine just a few years ago, these were young guys. Like, these are stars.
And also Mazzulla, younger than Al Horford.
Yeah. Yeah, I think having Al helps.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think having Blake will help as well.
Yeah.
He's a goofball throughout the league, known to be a goofball, but I thought it was a good signing. I think I don't think he's somebody that's going to come in there and demand the ball like a Carmelo Anthony kind of would. And I'm not saying that Carmelo would come in, like, I want the ball, but I'm sure he would make his opinions voiced.
Right.
Whereas I don't feel like Blake is that kind of guy. And again, knowing them absolutely zero amount of time, just based off what I see on the court, I just feel like that's how it would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. Now I need to hear you dig in here on the robot.
Yeah. So for our tremendous Townie takeaway, I know this is a segment where a few of you guys are just going to shut us off, and that's fine. But I wanted to get to the man, the myth, the legend. I can't believe we're already considering this man a legend, but Erling Haaland. Now, in case you guys do not know, Erling Haaland is a striker for the Manchester City Football Club. Currently, right now, with only 8 games into the season, he has 14 goals. Now, those might just be numbers to you, and I think probably you can put 2 and 2 together and say, well, 14 is close to 16, and that's double the amount of games, so he's almost at 2 goals per game. But I think what's bigger than all of this is the fact that he has 14 goals in 8 games. He could score 1 goal every 5 games, I think, and still probably, for the rest of the season, and still probably get top scorer in the Premier League, and that's absolutely ridiculous to me. But I think the biggest thing to take away from it. So I wanted to dig into previous top goal scorers. So let me touch on that first, right? Just to put out there how ridiculous what this guy is doing. So I went back and I was looking at, okay, what were the top goal scorers in the Premier League for the last, let's say, 10 to 20 years? So you go back to last year, Mo Salah, 23, Harry Kane, 23, Jamie Vardy, 23, Sadio Mane, 22. That was in 2019, so I was going back from 2022. 2018, Mo Salah had 32. 2016, 2017, Harry Kane had 29. And then you can even go back even further to like 2003, 2004, Thierry Henry had 30. This guy already has 14 goals. We're halfway through the season. And I think what's the biggest part of all of this is, number one, his age. He's 22 years old. Number two, he came from a league that obviously is seen as, inferior to the Premier League. And you know this as well as I do, because you bash me for liking Liga. You bash all the other leagues besides Bundesliga. But when you go from one of those other leagues, let's say, Serie A, Liga, La Liga, Bundesliga, to the Premier League, there's a lot of adjustment that happens. Like you're not just come in, or it's very rare a player comes in right away and just has immediate success, right? Like it just doesn't happen. And this guy comes from the Bundesliga, playing for Dortmund, comes to the Premier League and is making the Premier League look like child's play. It is absolutely incredible what he's able to achieve. So I went back and I wanted to look at other kind of legendary players, and Vic, you're going to know these names. You're going to be like, wow, so we're already putting his name among these guys. Other people that went from another league to the Premier League and had some success overall. Now, the first name I wanted to look up was obviously Thierry Henry, right? I mean, that's, you think of a legendary, okay. You're looking at a legendary player who played in the Premier League.
and how did he have success, right? So in 99, in 99, Thierry Henry played for Juventus. And then in 2000, he transferred to Arsenal, right? Now, in his first year with Arsenal, he only scored 17 goals, and it wasn't until 5 seasons in that he scored 30. 5 seasons. Robin van Persie, another legendary player, right? Eredivisie, played for Feyenoord, transfers to Arsenal at 20 years old. It wasn't until almost 8 years later that he scored 30 goals in the Premier League. Incredible. Didier Drogba played at Marseille. Scored 19 goals at Marseille. Comes to the Premier League his first year at 26, only scores 10. And it wasn't until 2 years later he scored 20, and then 3 years after that where he had that breakout year where he scored 29 goals in a season. Now, the last one I wanted to get to was another player. I mean, most of the other guys were Premier League through and through, but these guys are guys that were in other leagues and transferred over. Rue Van Nistelroy is probably the last player you can consider that went from...
Great Dutchman.
Yeah, that you can consider that went from another league into the Premier League and had success. So he would play at PSV Eindhoven and then came to Manchester United in 2002 and scored 23 goals. In 2003, he scored 25 goals, and in 2004, he scored 20 goals. So overall, incredible success there for Rue Van Nistelrooy. But we're talking about a guy who scored 23 goals in his first year. Erling Haaland has 14 goals in the first 8 games. First 8 games.
Crazier? What's crazier, saying that Haaland has that many goals, or that front line, that Dutch front line of Van Persie and Rue Van Nistelrooy never won a World Cup?
That's just as ridiculous.
They never even made it close, right? It was him. They had Robin on the outside. Who else did they had? That team was stacked, and they didn't win the World Cup.
Wesley Sneijder.
Oh. Yeah, Sneijder.
What's even more ridiculous is the Galacticos never won a Champions League. The Real Madrid Galacticos with Zidane, Ronaldo, Raul, never won a Champions League. That's always my fun fact to people.
They made the finals, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that World Cup team didn't make the finals. That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, what we're witnessing right now from Erling Haaland is incredible, and I think it shows that this Manchester City midfield desperately needed a top-tier striker, and I think when you watch him play, it's just incredible. He just knows exactly where to be every single time. I don't know if you watched this game this past week, but dude, I mean, just how he's always onside, right? I think his offside percentage is at 0 still. Like, he doesn't run offsides. Like, for a striker, like, that's crazy.
And it's not only that, Sam, he's also scoring in the Champions League as well.
Right.
I believe he had two this week. I mean, the guy has been
doesn't
on
stop.
pace. You know, it's unfortunate we're not going to get to see him in November.
It's so crazy.
For the United States men's national team. I just can't believe we couldn't find somebody in this guy's family that's American, for fuck's sake. I mean, there's got to be somebody that emigrated here, an aunt, an uncle. Who? Find them. But it's crazy. You know, it's, you know, he's not gonna be there. Your boy Mo Salah isn't gonna be there.
Yeah, he's gonna be there.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they got knocked out.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Egypt did get knocked out. You're right.
Yeah. You know, lots of stars, and that just shows you how important the World Cup is and how difficult it is to qualify. That some of the best players in the world aren't going. I mean, for Christ's sake, we're not going to have Italy in this World Cup, guys. So this is why
European champion Italy.
Yeah. And so this is why you have to cherish every time you go to the World Cup. This is why Sammy and I make such a big deal of it, and why the United States men's national team let me down so bad this past weekend, or this past international window, I should say. You know, Greg Berhalter needs to be fired. I am on. There's two types of people in this argument right now. and I'm sorry for shifting gears here to talk about, but this is what I do. There's two camps of thought here. Fire Berhalter before the World Cup starts, and sane people who would let him obviously coach the World Cup. And I am insane. I want this man gone. I want him far away. I want everything he's touched in the men's national on the men's national team gone. He has been, I don't want to say cancer, because that might be like a little bit too harsh, but like the next closest thing, he's been like, a urinary tract infection that keeps coming up. And I don't know what this guy's doing on a national team. He runs his national team like a club team, where he's trying to get these guys to play into a system, which makes no sense. You take your most talented players, you bring them on, and you fit the system towards them. The fact that we still have Gio Reyna playing on the outside, where the guy is clearly a middle midfielder, a central midfielder. Thank you, God. You got me saying middling too much. A central midfielder. It boggles my mind. We still have guys playing out of the back like Aaron Long and Walker Zimmerman. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And it's nice to see something good happen with Erling Haaland. But God, I just don't feel great about the United
I do want to bring something up too, because you mentioned that. There's two situations in my head where I looked at a similar situation. Like you look at Morocco this past year, and then you look at Argentina. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, where they had a coach that Messi didn't agree with, and Messi ended up retiring from international football because he didn't want to play. Argentina ended up firing that coach, got a new coach, and then lo and behold, who came out of retirement? Lionel Messi. So, and then same thing happened with Morocco. You had a coach who was trying to shift a team to play a certain way, and Ziyech and Mazraoui didn't really fit in that system or didn't really want to play it. They retire. Morocco underachieves in the African Cup. The federation fires the coach, hires a new coach this year, actually, not last year, this year, like 5-6 months before the World Cup, fires them. And guess who comes out of international retirement? Morocco's best player, who plays for Chelsea. And so it's going to be interesting to see if the United States Federation grows some balls and does pull the trigger, if what you're saying is true with how he's trying to set up that team with, because that talent is incredible. The talent on that United States team is incredible.
And I feel like Moroccans and Americans, United States fans, are feeling the same way when they see Chelsea hit the pitch. I mean, we just don't understand why they're holding our best players hostage like this.
Yeah.
When was the last time Ziyech has gotten minutes? I think he started a league game once this year.
Yeah.
But Pulisic was shut out completely from the Champions League after having an assist in 10 minutes on the pitch during the league play. I don't understand what Chelsea. Fuck you. But no, I saw some names out there. Roberto Perez was one. Apparently he in Belgium might be at odds. But yeah, I would love to have him coach the United States. We need somebody new. We need new blood. We need we don't need him necessarily an American to coach. We need somebody else. And
you need a next level talent to be able to work with this talent.
Exactly. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
No, that makes sense. Anything else you want to touch on, Vic, before we sign up?
I just really hate Chelsea. That club.
So again, thank you everybody for tuning in to Townie Sports. Welcome to all newcomers. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Like and subscribe. We'll be back every week, 8 p.m. Tune into our Instagram at Townie_sports, where you can find out all the times we're going to go live, any clips and mini clips from the show. It's going to be great. Thank you for choosing us for your listening pleasure. It is a tremendous honor. So again, like the video, subscribe, Don't forget to check out our TikTok page at Townie Sports Pod for all more mini clips and highlights of the show, especially, Vic's prediction of the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the division. But with that being said, I'm your host, Sami, alongside Vic. We are Townie Sports. See you next week.
Hey, swag so mean, swagger on 100. We keep it real, dog. Nah, we ain't never fronted. You know my whole cap G clear. clan stay blunted. My toes stay bruised, cause I'm running to the money. Swag's on me, swagger on 100. We keep it real, dog, nah, we ain't never frontin'. You know my whole cap, G clan stay blunted. My toes stay bruised.